Yes, we are.
All right. So good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the Committee of the Whole of the Town of Annapolis Royal to order for February the 3rd, 2026, at our new day, Tuesday, and time 5 p.m. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in African Heritage Month in Nova Scotia. This year's theme is Strength and Unity, and it celebrates the resilience, leadership, and contributions of African Nova Scotian communities and the shared path forward. Before we move into the agenda, I'd like to recognize that this is a time to celebrate the rich history and culture of African Nova Scotian Black communities, while still also reflecting on the work still needed to advance justice and inclusion. And so we have we have Lynn, Amory, Adele, and myself present. Heather had regrets and won't be present. We have no absence. Are there any additions to the agenda? Okay. Then we'll consider the agenda adopted and approved. Any disclosures of conflict of interest? Okay, well then, move on to the Committee of the Whole minutes from January 7th, 2026. Does anyone have any comments, additions? Otherwise, we'll consider those adopted then. We have no presentations, but we do have a member of the public who's expressed a desire to give some input. He's also waived the need to read to him that we'll be recording everything he says. So I'll pass over to Roger Mandela now.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm here to make a pitch on keeping the mooring balls. They're an item on the agenda that's coming up next. And from my standpoint, I understand that they are both a liability, but I also believe them to be an asset. And I'd like to ask that the council consider, that the committee consider delaying the decision on this, perhaps even only until the wharf revitalization, rehabilitation discussion, and the Jost documents are received. I can imagine that perhaps in one scenario or another that they might play a role, and I'm convinced that it would be, perhaps if that was decided, that it might be less expensive and to our advantage to refurbish them and properly at that time, rather than have to renew them or do without.
Right.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for the input. So we'll move on to new business now. Request for decision on the mooring balls. Well done.
Does you want me to just go a little background first
Yeah.
before we make a motion, just in case we don't want to make a motion? So the town has the 4 mooring balls in the river. There is an RFD in the package. The mooring balls are supposed to be inspected every year. It's about $5,000 to inspect them, plus the money for repairs. They have not been inspected fully since I've been the CAO. We have inspected the top sections of them for a couple of years. So it is so there is 2 options before you. It is to remove the balls, which would cost $6,000, which is an operating expense I'm looking to see if you want to put into next fiscal year budget, or to continue to maintain them for $5,000 each year plus any costs for repairs and maintenance. I'm not sure if there's any other questions that
We have to do the motion. Yes. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll move to recommend to council to approve the cost of removal of the 4 mooring balls owned by the town in the operating budget of 2026-2027.
Seconder, please.
So the mover has to be in favor of the motion, right?
Right, the seconder for
The
conversation.
seconder for discussion, I will
Yes.
second on that basis.
So I'll throw the floor open for discussion.
I've seen the mooring bottles used in the summertime, and I think that encouraging visitors from particularly Digby, bringing their boats over. We do have a wharf, pleasure boats over there, sailboats. And I see them sailing across because I have a cottage on that water. I see them mooring over here. It'd be really nice actually if we can continue to have that to encourage visitors to our town. I think it'd be really nice to expand it actually, but we'll leave it at that. No, you know.
Yeah, I'll speak to it because I actually moved the motion. And I moved the motion because, while I do agree that they need attention, and potentially the best way to deal with them would be to remove them and then work on them, work on a future plan for them. I actually would say that the public input today has also influenced how I feel about it. And I really appreciate the comment about waiting until we have all of the information from Jost and what their suggestions may be before we make a determination. The question I have about that is then perhaps the motion could be amended or voted down. I'm not sure what the right process would be for that, so that we could include the $5,000 in our budget plans for next year, because that's going to happen before we get the information from Jost. So I'm wondering if there's a way we can do that so that at least the maintaining them budget is in there for 2026, 2027. Even though we may not make an actual decision one way or the other until after we have the full information from Jost. So I'm not even sure, maybe I shouldn't have moved it because I was
Exactly.
in transition. I was in transition of my thoughts at that time.
Aaron, do you want to add anything?
No, that's what I was thinking. It's not the same motion.
Yeah, so we could, I
We
mean,
have to vote on it.
yeah,
so that it's
we'll vote on
we
not-
can vote it down and then we could do whatever we want to do.
Okay, then the question is, from a budget standpoint.
So we're not doing anything in this year's budget, right?
Yes,
So it was all for next year's budget. So if you want to get them inspected, so we are liable, one way or the other, they need to be dealt with either by inspecting them or removing them. And so if you want to get them inspected, it's 5,000 plus repairs and maintenance, and we know that they do need to be repaired and maintained. So you would need to put probably $10,000 in your budget for next year to get them inspected.
So in the case that the inspection says that we need to fix them,
You have the money to
we
fix
have
it.
the money to fix them.
Well,
Or to.
I'm not
remove them
sure if we
it's,
have
but we-
$4,000,
Yeah.
we'll cover the cost of
Yeah, we
repair
have
them, but we
increased.
have some money at least to do
Mhm.
something besides just inspecting them, right?
And then, so,
Nope, you go.
I was just say after we inspect them, we can kind of make that second decision.
Exactly.
So we don't need to make that decision today.
Yeah, it's just to put money either way in the budget for next year, cause something needs to be done. Whether you keep them, get rid of them, doesn't really matter. We just need to make sure we have money to do whichever direction council wishes to go.
So you'd be suggesting cost of inspection be put in next year's budget? What about cost of removal? That would be higher on the initial, than the initial inspection.
Right, so it's,
So it would be 6,000 versus 5,000.
It would be
Which could be
5,000
for
plus
inspection.
6,000, because you'd have to have the inspection, and then if you decide that it's in such bad shape, you need to remove it, you need 6,000.
Okay, that was my
Yeah,
question.
so we'd have to have 11,000 total, I think, in the budget.
So I would not be in favor because we made the decision not to have a commercial wharf. That's
You'd not be in favor of which, so
of any maintenance costs because the decision's already been made that we're not operating a commercial wharf in the area.
But these are recreational, not commercial.
No, I understand that, but having closed the wharf in terms of accessing and so on, that's where I would be.
so then you're in favor of the motion that's on the table?
Of the one that's on the table, except that, yeah, yes, we'd still have to vote on it, I guess.
I should have thought of these questions before, I apologize, but do we track how many people use it, or, so we know there's a few, but we don't really have a good, clear idea.
Before the pandemic, it was an honor system of $20 that was paid at the bookstore. But during the pandemic, that was stopped.
Well, no, it still went on. We just
Oh,
never
did
got
it?
into
Just
it.
never collected anything?
Nobody was.
Nobody
very
was honorable.
If you've seen books there, we've never received any money in the last 2 years for it.
And so if there's boats there, there's no way for them to get on land?
Yes, the
The
floating dock is still there.
Yeah,
That's
But they
why I was
can't, can they
saying,
moor up to that?
No,
no,
they have to bring their dinghy and
they're digging
They're-
to the floating
yeah.
But
dock.
then they don't have anywhere to moor if we take the mooring.
Yeah.
Right,
but that's why I was trying to differentiate between the recreation and the commercial, because recreationally, the wharf still has access. They moor at the they moor at the balls, and then they bring their tender into the floating dock. They come up the floating dock and walk down the wharf. So they do have access, and we have not voted to remove that access from them. We only voted to remove commercial access to the wharf, not recreational access.
And if I could just maybe add that, our adaptive reuse of the wharf, the plans that we're in now. We have no. So we get the plans the end of March, but we still won't be reacting to those plans probably until 27, 28. Because we'll have to find funding, we'll have to find money to do that, so. Whatever is proposed for the wharf, there's still gonna be like public meetings and public input, and so, like, it's gonna be a couple of years before. Whatever is done on the wharf will probably still be decided. And I also have on your next agenda package. Phase 2 of the wharf, where we were doing the tiered effect on the, I don't know my directions, but this side of the wharf. Facing town hall.
yeah.
Yes, that we have the plans that were done by our Chris grant. So they will be on the agenda for council, just as a phase 2, phase 3, phase 5 option. Which I am going to share with the current contractor for the wharf to see if it aligns with some other ideas that they have.
So, okay, sorry.
I'm just thinking if we voted to remove them, we could still vote to reinstate maybe 2 in the future.
Oh, definitely buy new ones or.
Cause
Do
they're
it.
probably gonna have to be removed anyway. So it's,
I have no idea. I have no idea what's
There's no
under
way
the
to
water.
yeah.
Yeah,
Gee,
we've never had them
So
That was
inspected.
one of the reasons why I supported the removal, because I knew that they are of the age that they are, and there's no way for us to know what the condition of them are. I did appreciate and do appreciate what Roger had to say, and that has shifted my thinking. And to Amory's point, perhaps I should not have moved this because my thinking was shifting in the process of moving it. But it's on the floor now, so.
Is there a possibility to, if we vote it down now, to bring it back in, say, 2 months, when we know better what's happening with Yoast, when we know better other things?
So I'm hoping though that I get a motion with some direction of either inspecting or removing. So if you just want to inspect and leave it at that to see what we find out. Because for a liability issue, now that we know, we're all in knowledge that we don't think they're safe and they have not been inspected. If something happens now, we're liable because we haven't reacted.
I don't think they're not safe. I don't know whether they are.
Right, but we've already lost one, right? So if we have some money dedicated to the budget, and it's not like we need to do it like right away in April, but if we had money in the budget to do something, I think I would feel better.
Yeah, that's what I
So
support too.
what about if we amended the motion to say that we consider removing them and put the money in the budget so we can make the final decision later? Is that a possibility?
Or to approve the cost of inspection or removal. That
So
would allow it, if we just added to approve the cost of inspection or, and then the rest of the motion removal. that would allow us to approve enough money to do one or the other.
Yes, or make it clear, clean.
And
And vote
vote it
against
down and do a
vote
new
it
one.
down.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better way to go.
I do not know what's involved in reinstating mooring balls. I'm assuming that probably the one advantage, one of the advantages to not pulling them out right away is I can't imagine it's easy to find something to anchor to. Like, but that's the advantage, is we've already got a place where they should be anchored to something that's supposedly strong enough. And if we just take them out and then say in 2 years decide that we want to have something like that, then you've got that cost added on to whatever you have to do. I think that
I'm
was.
concerned about an incident. So if NSPI,
Mhm.
as they did, moored to one and it took off. What if a pleasure craft comes in, like one comes in every natal day, every time? And what if something happened there? Like, I don't feel, I feel we're managing so much risk as a little town that I'm really risk averse to adding any more risks. I'm okay with either or options for things, but more risk, I'm risk averse.
Our signage there does say that it's all used at their own risk. The sign for the floating dock and that explains the use of the mooring balls all says that it's at the user's own risk.
On the shore,
On the, yes, when they come in.
yeah, so when you're out there tying up, you don't know.
By the time you get to land.
Yeah, not 100% sure of this, but I believe that same caveat is on, is it marinas.com? I can't remember what website we're listed on, but the mooring balls and the floating dock are listed on that. It's the one that the people in Digby told the Wharf Association way back when for it to be listed on, so that all of the information would be there, the fee for what it was, that it was at their own risk, how it could be used, that sort of thing.
And what was that website?
I think it's called marinas.com, but I could be mistaken. It's something really simple. The website's been around for a very long time.
Cause I don't know water information, I've never gone.
Yeah,
there
when
to
the
see
town's
water.
being sued repeatedly for things that are other people's,
Mhm.
like, it's who's got deep pockets, they usually sue everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say the question is whether it would stand up, right?
Yeah.
And they'll,
We still
it'll
have
cost us
lawsuits.
money regardless, because that's one of the
You have to
strategies.
pay for a lawyer.
Mhm. Yeah.
So shall we vote on this then, and then? I don't know if we want to craft another motion.
Well, we
or-
should probably
get-
defeat this one.
Yeah, yeah.
This one
And
first.
then you could, sure.
Okay, all in favor?
If you
Consider the motion defeated, please.
All in favor of the motion as stated, to recommend that council approve the cost of removal, I just wanna make sure what I'm voting on.
So this is the removal of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Cost for.
Yes.
So we've defeated that motion now. Now we
We
can
still have to
talk
vote.
about.
We have to vote.
Oh, I thought.
I thought we did, sorry.
We still have to say no.
Right, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Nay.
All against?
So again,
Literally.
so
Nah.
Third,
So you were for the motion?
no,
No, so it was unanimous.
yes, it was.
Okay.
I know, it's very confusing.
It's confusing.
so
So,
for your advantage, or for our advantage, I don't mean yours personally, but for the advantage of the town, are you suggesting that it would be best for us to have a motion that at least put something in our budget plan for the coming year? Whether that ends up being removal or inspection?
Yes,
Okay.
so I don't want come April 1st or May, and then there's no money in the budget to deal with this.
Yeah, exactly.
So whichever way you wanna go, if you want it to have an inspection and see what,
To determine
Determine
whether
whether
they
it
should be
should-
removed
yeah.
or remediated, would that be
the thing
okay?
is
language?
that, if we pay for an inspection, we have to put enough money
For removal.
or
or repairs. Like,
repairs, right?
Yeah.
At least we have to put enough for removal, because if we get something that's so costly that we can't cover it under,
or maybe it's like you said,
Two.
we keep
Yeah,
two
we keep
and.
two or keep one.
or-
Yeah.
Or
With this before, I'm not moving this, but I'm just gonna read this out loud. Would this be okay, as simple as this, or would you want more clarity? That, council to approve the cost of inspection of the four mooring balls owned by the town in the operating budget of 2026-2027? Or do you want inspection and response? Or like, I'd be afraid to put
Yeah.
the detail, like neither remediation nor removal in there because we don't know what it would be. But you're right, we would still need at minimum, we know that it would be $11,000. That's the minimum we know,
Yeah.
because it would be the inspection and then the
And then-
$6,000 to remove them.
Yep.
So that would be the,
But we
would you
would-
want the exact amount in?
I would like an amount in there too.
So,
Your
in the
budget is
operating budget of 2026.
growing.
Approve the cost of $11,000 for inspection and possible.
And
Or
or,
inspection and response to the
Ins-
findings of the
Perfect.
inspection,
Inspection and response.
to the finding of the inspection of the form.
Okay, so I'm gonna just read this out loud, but then I am not moving this yet. Just to make sure that I captured it. So, to approve the cost of $11,000 for inspection and response of the can't speak now, of the four mooring balls owned by the town in the operating budget of 2026-2027.
Yep.
Is that,
If
Yeah.
that's
Sure.
what you want.
should we,
I'll second that.
May I have a motion, please? Are you okay with it, Amory?
No,
No, okay,
Well,
what
then
would
we
you like
should-
to?
change it?
no, I'm not okay with the 11,000. I'm okay with the 6,000 proposed by staff, which we cover either demolition or an inspection. But I'm not okay because normally we look for grants before we do anything.
It's a good point.
And to me, using operating money, which is ratepayer money, on stuff,
So if it said,
without exploring other means is
Yeah.
going kind of against what we're trying to do here.
so if we just said 6,000?
I'd be okay with 6,000 because that's, staff said they could, they proposed 6,000 in the budget to do something. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with being flexible on what we do. But I think.
But we just said we
before-
don't know what we need to do, so.
And we don't
yeah.
know what we're doing at the wharf and we don't know on a whole
Yeah.
bunch of things. So there's a
Yeah,
lot
that's a
going
good,
on down there.
I guess what I'm sort of questioning is, so if we spend 5,000 on having it inspected and the findings are catastrophic and we have to remove it, where can we get the money from?
Right.
If we spend 5,000 in, I'm trying to make sure that we're not spending something on something that we've already got a foregone conclusion on, I guess is what I'm saying.
I guess it's either or, right?
Yeah,
So if the inspection comes up, you're right, the risk here is that you waste $5,000 if that's the way people decide to go. So you're risking $5,000. I'd rather risk $5,000 than 11.
and I guess the question is, ultimately, do we want to try and keep them, or are we trying to get rid of them?
We haven't received the plan. We're working on plans right now, as I understand it, for phase 2 of shoreline restoration, and so that's where I feel we are.
so if we were to vote to have the inspection done and we found out that we needed to do something to it and we needed money to do that, we wouldn't be able to get a grant for a long time, I don't imagine, would we? Are there?
Well, we're applying that, we're looking right now for funds into 2028. I mean,
Yeah,
right, we're always in funds for 2026, 2027, 2028.
But you also mentioned that even with the information from Yoast, we wouldn't be actioning that in this budget
No,
anyways.
we're not
Prepared.
prepared to put any money in the
This is
budget
a
for
future
anything.
plan, yeah.
so I guess I just feel like we're
Circling.
making a circle because, okay, so you inspect, you need to do something catastrophic, we don't have this money to do something to fix a catastrophic problem. We also don't have the money to pull them out of there. Now we've got a liability risk because we
Yeah,
know
it's the
they're
same
out
as the
there.
wharf. To me, it's the same as the wharf. It's not the same exactly, same principle. You send good money after bad. like, we know that something will have to be done, any inspection is it's never gonna cost you less after
Mhm.
somebody's inspected something. I'm not against putting in 2 good moorings or whatever, but, and maybe council wants to just do that, we'll take a look at it, and then if you need 1 or 2 moorings, it might be.
But we'll still need to remove those 4, won't we?
You'd still
Not-
need to remove the 4,
Well,
so
not
that's,
necessarily, because the anchors on them may be perfectly fine, it may just be the connections between the anchor and the ball.
But we don't need to do it all in 1 year, so we could do an inspection this coming year and then decide and wait for.
then you've got the risk
But
issue,
then you've got
right?
your liability, right?
Right.
If you're willing to take on that liability for the year that,
But I'm okay with this going to vote and then people just, vote whichever way, whatever number you decide. I mean, it's a free vote of council.
I'm not clear on what I would vote for at this point. I would love to keep them because I think encouraging people to come and visit and do have fun things and. You know, maybe someday we'll have a tall ship thing again, but at the same time, acknowledging that they haven't been able to be maintained and that they are in a risky situation. We don't wanna put the town at risk of, you know, a liability suit would cost us a lot more than just, I imagine, than making new.
So the information we don't have is the cost of 1 or 2 good moorings.
so why don't we just
So why don't we get that?
wait and we'll bring it back
I think
with
that's
more
a good
information,
idea.
we'll find out how much it costs to put 2 new
Yeah,
moorings in, and
Yeah.
assuming that if they were inspected and they're,
They don't generally have an end of lifespan though, those kinds of moorings, the bottoms are the things that are pretty solid, it's the attachments in between and the balls at the top that occasionally need to be replaced. So it's not usually a whole, scrap the whole thing and start from scratch, it's you can usually reuse that kind of material.
but we don't have that kind of information in the staff report we have, so we operate with the best
Yes, of
information we
course.
get.
so let me see if I can get some more information and.
I would be a lot more.
Yeah,
clear
I
than
think
that.
so too.
So we haven't made a motion, so we
No,
move on to
right,
the next
absolutely.
process.
We were just discussing it.
Anybody wanna say anything further on this? All right, so we will move on to the next topic, which
It is
is.
winter, so I do have time. I don't think any of us.
That is true. Nobody's going to inspect them for us right now, no matter what.
We will move on to the Annapolis County Regional Emergency Management Organization Memorandum of Agreement. So this is a memorandum of agreement that is going to be signed between King's Transit and our REMO. The purpose of it is to allow for situations when we have an emergency and we need to transport numbers of people, either who don't have access to vehicles themselves or out of danger or to comfort places or safety of some kind. So all of the municipalities within the REMO have to agree to it and it's laid out as it is. Any questions or comments on it? Okay. So may I have a motion, please?
I'll move to recommend to council to approve the memorandum of agreement for emergency transportation services between King's Transit Authority and the Annapolis Regional Emergency Management Organization, Annapolis REMO, as recommended by the Annapolis REMO Advisory Committee.
I'll second that.
Okay, just one thing I didn't add was, we would be charged mileage if they do have to transport any of our people anywhere. Any comments, Lynn?
No.
No, Amory?
No, Sandy and I were privy to it because we've been on the,
The committee?
yeah.
No?
No, it was clear.
All right, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimously carried. All right, the next topic is the request for decision on the budget overage for fuel.
Yes, so, due to our lovely weather, we're going to blame our weather and the price of gasoline or diesel, for diesel's gone up immensely. We're over budget in 2 lines there, so one is the public works and one is the police department.
All right. Can I have a motion, please?
I will move to recommend to council approval of the increase in budget lines GL 01-231-356 for $1,000 and GL 01-2217-0C for $2,500 from the 2025-2026 operating budget.
Someone to second that, please.
I'll second that.
Anybody wish to discuss?
I just wanted to know where the money's coming from.
Just the extra D-transfer tax.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Take the vote then, all in favor?
Salt, fuel, what else?
Can't avoid it.
Yeah, yeah, unavoidable, absolutely. And our streets are nice and clean.
Right, unanimously carried. All right, the next topic is live streaming of council meetings policy. So everybody's had a chance to look at that. This topic arose as a result of some of the councillors expressing feeling not so comfortable with being recorded and that then being on the internet permanently, as all things are nowadays. And so the proposal was to consider whether we would continue with the live streaming.
So, did you want to read Heather's comments?
Amy, Amy
So
has them?
if you've got them, please go ahead.
I don't have Heather's comment.
Okay.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah, because I wasn't sure who'd be reading. Okay, so Heather has commented on this. This came out of our review with Jason Hahn. It was the first review of first year of council. And one of the issues that came up was the issue of live streaming. So these are Heather's comments. And she gave them in point form, so there's 8 points. So here are a few reasons that she does not support live video or saved recordings. Live streaming or permanent video archives on YouTube increase the risk of misidentification or misuse of footage, risks that are far harder to mitigate than written minutes or audio records. Item 2, and I can give you this, Kim.
The document.
Yeah, video recording can discourage town residents from speaking freely, especially in our small community. This can disproportionately affect vulnerable groups such as newcomers, survivors of domestic violence, youth, or people discussing sensitive neighborhood conflicts, leading to less public input, not more. Item 3, our processes suffer when participation becomes performative, council members included. Item 4, video snippets taken out of context can be easily edited, shared, and weaponized on social media. Remarks may be misrepresented, mocked, or used for harassment, particularly in polarized environments. Item 5, written minutes provide a neutral record. Item 6, transparency does not require video. Agendas, detailed minutes, staff reports, community engagement sessions already allow residents to understand decisions and hold council accountable. Item 7, in-person attendance preserves openness while maintaining appropriate boundaries around privacy and civic discourse. And finally, item 8, outside of council and the committee of the whole, no other committee meeting is video recorded and the public appears to be agreeable to just written minutes. Generally speaking, she goes on to say she would be agreeable to audio recordings if council feel that was absolutely necessary. Some folks will say that there is an accessibility need, but her own feelings and the reasons listed above strongly oppose the video component. So those were her remarks, just on behalf of Councillor Sadkowski.
So she covered a lot of what I said. I kind of considered privacy and safety concerns, like she was saying, and discouraging kind of authentic public participation of people not wanting to, even though they can choose not to be on video, they would maybe not want to write to somebody and go through the process of not being on video. They may want to speak about a sensitive topic. And we do have clarity of record keeping through our minutes and our agendas. And they offer clear understanding than a lengthy unedited live recording. Meeting dynamics, we can change the dynamics of meetings, possibly. It could reduce thoughtful, deliberate respectful discussion may possibly. And some people, when they're being recorded, may feel a higher level of anxiety. And I also I also agree with, the ability to, being exposed, having your digital footprint exposed even more. And the possibility of clipping, manipulating, or misrepresenting people, and there's little you can do about those things. I do have to say that I have personally enjoyed watching council meetings, and it kind of educates people on how things work at a municipal level, so I do see the upside to it. But I think there are a lot of downsides to live recordings.
No,
Yeah, so I will speak in favor of it. I feel that in this day and age, any reduction in transparency in our process will be perceived extremely negatively by the community, the province, by just about anybody who monitors our situation. Video meetings for committee of the whole and for council are by and large the normal practice. It's more of an exception that people don't do it than it is that they are doing it. So the biggest thing for me is the reduction in transparency. To date, as far as I know, we have had 0 issues on any clipping or any malicious use of any of the materials. So I kind of feel that while that's possible in any scenario. That's possible with every news article that goes out that we're a part of, any report that's done, that is possible in that scenario as well. Anything that's been produced or publicly made, that's possible. What I have noticed as somebody who has been watching the videos since they've been available is that there's actually more people at the committee of the whole and the council meetings than there were previously. For many years, I didn't see a single other person at a committee of the whole or council meeting, or when I asked, I was told that no one was attending those meetings. So I think it has actually improved engagement pretty dramatically. And then the other part of that is that not everybody can make it here on the dates and times that we are here. And so having that video representation allows people to watch it at a later date, and our video statistics that we have on our YouTube channel show that that is used quite considerably for people to watch afterwards. I do feel like it's a step backwards. We have to deal with these issues in modern society. They aren't going away, and so I feel like trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube is not actually the best response. I think that finding a way to mitigate the concerns that people have is probably a more proactive approach. And then the interesting thing that I found about this is that, again, having attended meetings pre-video and post-video, is that being on video actually enforces a stronger positive dynamic in the council chamber, because we are being videotaped, and people do tend to, in many instances, behave probably in the way they wish to be seen, as opposed to being a little bit more free with what they might do when they're not being recorded openly. And the other part about this is that I find that while the written minutes are exceptional, and I think I've had one correction since we've started. I don't believe, and from the feedback that I've had in the community, the written minutes don't translate to most people what's actually happened in the meeting. But then when they can go to the video and see what's actually happened and see the fulsomeness of our conversation and how much discussion there was for each topic, they really then believe that we've actually spent the time deliberating something in detail and in good faith. So I have very strong feelings about maintaining this, although I do agree that there should be some work put into mitigating some of the concerns that have been raised. Thank you.
Right.
Um,
You
I-
get to be you now instead of Heather.
no, I'm okay either way with this. It troubles me if, there are members of council who are uncomfortable with it for the reasons that they voice. That is a problem for me. So that's the concern I would have. For me personally, I don't notice one or the other. And I would hope, even though we're affected by being on video or not, I would hope that I would behave the same way, whether this video or there or not, but you never know. So I'm ambivalent, but I am concerned that there are at least two members who have concerns. And I do not believe that, it is easy to address their concerns.
I'm pretty much where you are. My concern against stopping them is that I do think for people who have limited mobility and the elderly people, especially with the kind of weather that we have, that this does give those people who are interested an option to be here. But I also, acknowledge we all have different levels of comfort about what our digital footprint is, and we have a right to that. Especially as women on council, being on the internet can be pretty scary, to the point where people have resigned in this province because of how they've been treated online. So I can't say that I would have difficulty choosing which, because I think they're both very good reasons not to do it and to do it. What I was thinking, and I need to understand better the people who are concerned, is it that it's taped and then put up on YouTube, and then that is so supposedly forever. If we were to do more like a Zoom where it can't be recorded, but people could still watch the meetings, would that increase the comfort of the people that are uncomfortable? We don't have Heather here, unfortunately, to say, and she probably is of an age where she understands it extremely well.
That's not a bad idea. I would want to know from a municipal governance perspective and from the municipal affairs, how that works. If we're broadcasting something that we aren't keeping a record of, because again, we wouldn't, if we're not keeping a recording of that, but it's been broadcast, is there any issue there? Like, would there be any concerns in that way? Because again, it's the issue that our written minutes aren't identical to what happens in our real world
But
conversation.
I'm not sure that the intent for minutes is ever that they are. In fact,
No,
when
I
you're
agree.
instructed, they
Yes,
follow very carefully, and I don't see any different between people sitting here and hearing it, or people sitting virtually here and hearing.
no, I totally agree with you. What my question is there anything from a municipal governance, from municipal affairs perspective that they would want us to do one or the other thing? That's what I'm trying to get at.
So I do know that we're not mandated
Mhm,
to do Facebook Live or YouTube.
mhm.
meetings.
But I guess what I'm saying is if we were doing a Zoom meeting, as Sybil suggested.
But we can't do a Zoom meeting unless it's through Facebook Live or YouTube. You can't.
Could we not just use Zoom and people could have the invite to the meeting and join the meeting just as watchers? They can't participate in the discussion. That's how I use Zoom at work.
Right, but I'm not sure what, like you said, as a public platform.
Yeah. Because the question I just have is, what do you do if you're not recording it? Because then you don't have a record, and generally what is wanted is that record. So that would be the question that I would have, but Zoom in and of itself would allow for that. It would allow you to have the meeting
I
and
think
allow
we
attendees.
have to get advice on that, because I mean, in the days before you could record at all.
Exactly.
We considered minutes acceptable, so
Mhm.
I don't think that, having, just because you record something, or because we're talking about not recording, because you have participation through different means, shouldn't change the legality of having minutes. Anyways, it's all a moot point until, I think we need Heather here to have the discussion too, because she had some very good points and some very strong feelings, and you do too. And, you know, I think we need to understand, is there a middle ground that we could find comfort with, or do we really need to be either or?
I think possibly audio recordings could be in the same fashion, but without maybe possibly a camera.
But you'd still have the issue of clips. Things could still be clipped
Yeah.
in any form. They could be, our
But that's one,
website could
that
be.
is one of the issues. It takes care of some other issues.
Yeah.
So.
I would just like to note that a couple of times it's been noted that others have very strong feelings about it against. I do have to reiterate, I have extremely strong feelings about the transparency of it and why I'm speaking for it.
Acknowledged. So I don't think we're gonna come to a
No.
resolution today.
I don't think so either.
No, I think it was more of a discussion.
Is there anything else that anyone wants to add? Right, shall we move on to the next topic then? We're on that, unfinished business. The council engagement session on February 23rd has been preempted because of snow. Or possibly preempted because of snow. We also have another meeting that was previously scheduled with all of the other municipalities, so is maybe more difficult to move. So we were gonna have a discussion about whether we, will try and do both that evening or find another day.
I'd be comfortable doing both, but I'll go with whatever the majority would like to do on that topic.
And
I
I'm
think-
flexible as well, could be then, or could be another day.
If we include Sandy in this, there's 6 of us, so there could be 3 at 3, like 3 at each location. And the last community meeting that we had, there was three of us there. So, you know, just,
And I could certainly cover both, not an issue. It's whatever council wants to do though.
I think the divide and conquer is a good solution. Whoever can make what meeting, we can decide who can go to the public meeting here and the municipality.
and I'm
Meeting
perfect,
last
super
week.
flexible, so you guys could pick what you really want and I'll be a filler wherever you
Yeah,
need.
I think it's harder to, because we took so long to book it in the first place. I think it's
Exactly.
just harder to find another date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much
And
time
we
do we
doing
have between the end of it and the start of the meeting? It's in,
Uh,
no,
There's
Bridgetown.
there's no
It's in
time
Bridgetown,
they
so it's a
overlap.
20 minute, but we.
So ours goes from 4:30 until 6:30 here at the
Yeah.
community meeting, and the one in Bridgetown goes from 6 until 7:30.
Could we maybe change our time so that
Shorten it
people
a
that
bit,
want to go to both could? So if we went from,
We shortened it by half an hour, that would give people
Yeah.
time to get.
4:30 to 5:30. You really need 2 hours. I don't know.
no, we
How many people
haven't.
come and how
I
long
had
they
it
stay?
down from 4:30 to 5:30.
Yeah, I'm not fussed one way or the other. Again, at the time that it's happening is right before the supper hour anyways, and so I think that the later it goes, the less people you have come at that later time because people are going home to eat supper. Whereas you might catch them between 4:30 and 5:30 coming quickly after work to pop in. So,
I don't go to it, so it's.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah, I think that's
That sounds
reasonable.
like a
I think
reasonable
4:30 to 5:30, those people that are going to Bridgetown can
Still get a chance.
still get a chance to do that.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, so we're keeping the date and we know that it is on the
23rd.
23rd and it's
Monday.
about the survey. Is that what your topic was this month?
surveyors.
Yeah, it's like the communications survey.
Well, you probably need 2 subjects based on the last one, like the survey. And maybe there'll be something to share on the, on phase 2 work,
And
status of it.
Or what about live streaming instead?
That would be.
the-
that would be
Discussion,
discussion.
really.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
And I'd also just say, open topics too, because
Yeah.
people came to that last meeting and they talked about all sorts of
Yeah, I
stuff.
think that it's nice for people just to show up and have a chat and get to know each
They
other.
did
and-
talk about the communications things, but then it
Yeah.
was whole bunches
Yeah.
of other topics that came up.
I wonder if we're gonna talk about the live streaming, it would be good to have some statistics about, week, month on month, maybe for a year or something. What is the attendance during, what is the number of people who watch afterwards? I don't know what else would be useful, but those are good things to think
Sure,
about.
yeah, that'd be great.
It doesn't mitigate any of the issues though.
No, but
People watch
it
or don't watch them.
puts it into perspective.
Yeah, if only 4 people are watching the whole thing from start to finish,
Mhm.
or if,
Like our last
Doing it
meeting,
rotates.
there was 22 views, but the meeting before that, there was 58.
Yeah, but how long did
That's
they
the-
stay on though?
And that's views.
Yeah, I don't know, cause I
Right.
can't see that. I'm just in the
Yeah.
general public, so I only see
Yeah.
the views.
And I don't watch them, so the views wouldn't be mine.
But when you go back a little
Minus,
further,
Like, no, we
May
can't be
7th,
minus.
Yeah.
I don't remember what
We
we were
can't put
talking
a
about on
minus,
May
you just
7th,
weren't
but
there.
122
It wasn't
views
me.
for
No.
May 7th.
I'm gonna add it 22 times. It could be one person doing it 22 times.
Yes,
So-
when they're cooking supper.
Right.
And a cake in the kitchen, yes, yes.
Fine, replaying, yeah. We did,
That's how popular we are.
All
I
right,
said that, I
so
apologize to
there-
that constituent.
there being no correspondence, may I have a motion to go into camera, please?
Also